I'd like to introduce Chris Baer, Vice President at eXp Realty, Stanley Rosen, President of the Rosen Group at Kai's, Jeff Garza, CEO and broker owner of Redbird Realty in San Antonio, Texas, and Mike Bernier, partner in Realty Group in Minnesota. Thank you. Give these guys a round of applause. Thanks, bro. Thank you. What's up, bro? What's up, man? I'm pumped. Look, so there's a lot of diversity up here, and these are guys that I trust to understand the changes that are happening in today's market and in our industry today. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation because all of you are extremely fantastic in what you do, in your own perspective rights, and in the which way you do it. And I think that it's an opportunity. People like us are paying attention to all the indicators, and I think that a lot of people are falling behind and not really paying attention to what's happening around us. And you guys have built what you've built, regardless of do these people that call me know that I'm even up here right now? What's going on? And you guys have built wonderful businesses for yourselves. So in this panel, what I'd really like to do is not talk about market. I don't want to talk about buyers and sellers. I don't want to talk about what's happening. I want to talk about what's happening to us, the real estate professional in our industry. Those of you that follow Stanley know that he's going to be very passionate this afternoon. And those of you that follow Mike know that he's a big part of player and understanding of why he's grown his brokerage to the way that he has. And Jeff, who happens to be a new broker owner, and in just a very short time, in less than half a year, has grown his brokerage to 50 agents already in San Antonio, Texas. So, congratulations to everyone up here. Now, let's talk about the first thing. And Mike, I'll start with you, and then we'll run to Jeff, and then we'll come back to Chris and then Stanley, if that's okay with this question, because I'd like to hear an answer from each of you. What do you believe is the biggest change happening in our industry that people are not really paying attention to?
First off, I think I'm just going to go and start flipping burgers, like you said a minute ago. Okay, so I think one of the changes that's really happening, and I don't know if it's that they're not paying attention to it or not giving it proper weight, but I think what we're seeing is the emergence of new models. There's so many new models out there, and really people don't innovate without need, right? So consumers are changing what they're wanting, what they're expecting, and certain individuals in the industry are rising to that challenge and creating something. I mean, there's always been iBuyer models out there, so you'll have this argument. This is what I mean they're not paying attention, because agents are going to say, I've seen this model before 20 years ago. But what they're not really giving weight to is how well funded, well organized, and how well advertised these new models really are. So even though the concept's not new, the way that they're deploying it is very new. So I think that's something to pay attention to.
Awesome. Jeff?
I'm going to say that, kind of answer it by saying that the saying, the more things change, the more they say the same. To me, really, I think what's happening right now in 2019, about to be 2020, is just really a big microscope of what's been happening over the last 20 years. And right now, obviously, consumers are completely looking for a different experience. They're looking for authenticity. They're looking for people to lead with hearts. They're looking for people to be people. And so in saying that, in our industry, I believe that the broker models, the variety of broker models that are out there, the agent models, how you can lead with the belly to belly or with the technology or whatever. The bottom line is that we know it's a tough industry, and so for me, in my estimation, consumers no longer want to be led by agents who have commission breath. They want to be led with people that have hearts. And so I think really, like I said, authenticity is going to be a big thing for what consumers are looking for moving forward. They don't want us to be giving them the same old spiel over and over and over. So I think people are looking for what they were always looking for, which was for an agent to be an advocate for their mission in life, which was to buy a home or sell a home for a variety of personal needs that have happened in their life.
Awesome, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit more with you. Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of gear it towards maybe the agent side of it.
Okay.
Then the consumer side of it. It was great responses on the consumer side. But as we see in the industry, I think the last statistics, about 66% of real estate is now ran by teams, which that's kind of a change, right? We used to be
really
kind of more of the independent brokerages or even the franchisees.
It is. We had a lot more brokerages.
It was, but now it is the teams. And what we've really seen is teams are looking for platforms to run their business within. And that's really starting to shape and change the industry. And I mean, we see amazing teams, and half the time you don't even know who the brokerage really is, right? Because it's the team face. So I think we're going to see that progress more and more as the industry changes into more of a platform base than a traditional style that it used to be.
Do you foresee the rules changing, allowing teams to promote themselves as brokerages in the future?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in the works that I know of for that. I do think it's still very important to know who the broker is in charge, right? Because that is still a person that takes the liability. You know, I came from being an independent brokerage owner. We know the importance of liability, and a lot of times too for these guys, you know, a lawsuit or two can close your doors down, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we're seeing that too, where a lot of the responsibility going into platforms, then taking the ownership. The actual team lead or former brokers of these offices are able to go out and do what they want without that liability, and actually invest more time into their people.
And that's why it's grown so much. That's why it's grown so much. Did you guys know that the 80% of independent brokerages that shut down because of one lawsuit?
Absolutely, yep.
How crazy is that, right? Stanley. So I want you guys to know that we had a different furniture sponsor last year. Boga's here today because we had to find a new furniture sponsor. Last year, Stanley sat in a chair that was provided by our furniture sponsor, and he looked at the crowd. He goes, "First of all, why am I sitting on a German Shepherd?" We lost that sponsor. And I love Stanley so much, we brought him back. And hopefully he won't say anything about the leather. It's comfortable now, Stanley. It's comfortable. So tell me, industry change, go.
I think first of all, I think we're going to be around for as long as we want to be around. Everybody asks me, Stan, how's real estate doing for you? I said, well, if you work, it works.
Right.
There's a lot of things going on. Everything that I do, whether it's Facebook, online, on a video, is factual. I really don't have time to hurt anybody or burn anybody. But the biggest problem that we're having in our industry today is deception. I think the consumer is being misled as far as who's who in this industry, who's the real listing agent, who's the real agent getting the business, and what type of knowledge they have.
Right.
And this crawled up on us little by little. Our board of realtors removed our phone numbers from the remarks. They removed our branding from the photos. And then they took away the real estate name from our name. They stripped us down. So at the end of the day, all these homes were being shared with different brokers, which brokers approved these platforms. These platforms were all approved for marketing of the property, and all the information was going back. So what I'm doing and what I've been doing is contacting, of course, past clients. You've probably heard that 20 times here. Being more out in the street, face to face, giving the personalized service. And I think that this actual situation that's going on with the iBuyer, iSeller, this, that, is just part of the business now. It's part of the business, but I refuse to pay out of pocket to build my business. I know there's a cost of doing business,
Right.
but the fact that they're taking my business to give it to others that are paying is a very big problem.
That's a huge change for us.
It's a huge change because who am I? I might as well just take my name off the board because, there's just nothing you can do. We've come...
But you did say something very interesting that Jeff alluded to a little while ago, which was, even with all these changes and even with all this happening, how are you taking action? You're reaching out to everyone who knows you. You're banking on relationships.
Everything is relationships.
Yeah.
Everything will always be. If you want to let a computer determine the value of your property, and if that's your major investment in life, go so be. Let it be. In today's world, my daughters go to shopping malls, and while they're looking and they're trying on, they're onto Amazon. And then they'll say, Dad, I'll just buy it because, we're Prime. That's what we are, Prime. So, the first thing I did was install a Ring doorbell in my house so I can see all the packages coming in, because we don't go to the mall anymore. The mall comes to us.
Right.
So
I don't go to the supermarket anymore.
I know.
On my way home, my wife will say, can you stop at the supermarket and pick this and this up? Absolutely, no problem. While I'm in traffic, I go to Instacart, I order all the groceries, I text her, I go to be there in an hour. And that's it. I refuse. But it's a convenience thing more than anything else, and that's what we would be providing for our clients, and that's why the client mindset is shifting. That's why the client is on other platforms instead of talking to us directly, because it is almost easier for them to go to Google, search for a property, and use one of these major platforms that is using our information instead of calling you. And newsflash, guys, if you're not following up the way Stanley is and these guys up here do, they don't even remember who you are. So they're on to the next one.
I love how you said that, but we do live in a times now where we want everything instantly, right?
Right now.
I mean, think about a time before we had to find out information, we'd have to research it, figure it out. We just ask Siri now.
Right.
But what we're seeing is, as much as consumers want that, consumers don't want to wait for an agent to call them back. Most of the time, consumers are calling us just to open a door, and they're ready to put an offer in because they're educating themselves. They've already driven by the property, and they're doing that homework. But we're finding the agent side as well, where it's come to, and now on-demand service is what they want.
Right.
They don't want to have to wait or drive somewhere. They want help. They want it at Starbucks.
Right.
They want it in their living room, wherever it is. And I think this is only going to progress.
That's hilarious because I can't remember the last time I went to Starbucks. I Uber Eats it.
See, you don't even go to Starbucks. But it's going to keep progressing, I believe, to a time where it's going to cause a shift that no one's going to be able to control.
Right.
Because we're setting an expectation in every other industry right now, and it's just going to follow. It's following. It's here.
Mike, and before you say it, I want to hope whatever you're saying leads into this. Red Door, Purple Bricks, even though they've been driven out, Zillow, Realtor.com, all these different companies. What does that mean to us today in our future?
Sure. So one thing, just to follow up real quick on what he was saying. So the idea of a transactional buyer now, all they really need is a door opener. That's kind of the way that it's being treated, right? So for us as agents, brokers, team leaders, what we got to focus on isn't lead generation for transactional buyers. It's fishing upstream before they're that transactional buyer. So back to building relationships, you got to meet them months, if not years, before they're going to buy. So your database is what you live and die by. So it's not just about somebody that wants to buy right now. We need to stop thinking about lead generation, and we got to get more in the lead nurture game, the same way Zillow's doing, the same way OpCity's doing. So the more we can think like that and build relationships and leverage technology and platforms to do so, the more successful we're going to be to hold those opportunities in our fishbowl and not somebody else's. And then as far as Purple Bricks and some of the other discount brokers you're talking about, correct? Is that what that was your question?
Yeah, that and the use of Zillow, the use of Realtor.com and stuff like that. How does that affect our business? Where does that do for us today, right now? And what does it look for us 18 months from now, 24 months from now?
So here's one thing I'll say on that. And an agent in my office came to me after Open Door came into our marketplace, and what he said is, oh my God, I had a listing appointment for tomorrow night. I just got a phone call. And the seller said, don't bother coming out. We're good. You get your Friday night back. Don't worry. We just sold Open Door. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't know you were even talking Open Door. And right there was the mistake. What's happening with all these different models and what you're mentioning is whether it's going to be a flat fee model, a discount model, an iBuyer model, a traditional model, if you're not thinking about offering all options to all people, somehow, I'd rather be the first point of contact, not one of the options that they contact. Make me the first point of contact, tell me what you're looking for, and I will help put you in the right lane. That's where I think we need to be focusing on.
Right. So you two run 100% brokerages.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Why 100% brokerage, and why did you feel like you needed to shift away from the old traditional model that was once upon a time 52%,
Right.
55%? There was a time in real estate where you would walk into your broker's office and say, hey man, look, I'm on a 55%. Can I get a raise? Because I've sold a lot. And they go, you know what? You're right. I'm going to bump you up to 58.5. And you walk out of there like a champion, like you negotiated the hell out of that, right?
Go flip burgers.
Long over, right?
Go flip burgers.
Go flip burgers. Why did you adjust?
Man, this is man, I could talk for hours about this one, but the bottom line is that I was that high-producing agent down in San Antonio that paid my Texas brokers over however many years I was in production and had my team. I paid Texas brokers over $200,000 on my side. because of my level of production at that time.
Right.
And so it's interesting because now I interview, new agents and transfer agents and whatnot, and they never have profitability on the top of their mind. It blows my mind that they don't understand that their profitability is key. They can get technology, they can get automation, but they sure as hell better be able to afford it.
Right.
And if they're paying their brokers 30%, 40%, they're paying the IRS another 15%, let's just say, if they've got an aggressive tax strategy, and then after their MLS and fees and dues and everything else that we're doing with dry cleaning and clothes and car washes and everything, if we really boil it down, our hourly rate, we would probably all throw up in our mouth for how hard we work for what little return we actually bring.
Right.
So for me, the answer is this. I kind of like what Mike and Long said earlier. I wanted to provide an opportunity in our market where it was the brokerage that supported that person who was out there, hustling and driven to be able to be profitable and keep more money. Because honestly, with the programs that are out there and the technology that people can buy, man, we can outspend our model real quick, and then we're done.
Right.
And what we saw is exactly what he was talking about. But the rise of teams right now and how much production is going team, if you're running a team and you're running lean on profitability, and now you're paying your brokerage, 20%, 30%, and now you're charging your agents, 50%, what's left over.
Right.
So you have to figure out a way that you can be profitable. So we saw the team thing rising years ago. We thought we were going to really create a great plug-and-play model for teams to jump into our system. They can keep 100% of the commission. They pay us a flat fee. And then they can build their splits down from that so they can pay their agents better. So we're attracting teams at a high level. Every year we're seeing more and more teams form and more different team models. It's not just one team model anymore. There's so many different ones kind of emerging. So we position ourselves in a marketplace to service that because we see that's where it's going.
Okay.
David, can I add just one thing here? So to me, I have an extensive social work background, as you know, right? Before I got into the sales industry, if you will. I actually don't believe I sell anything, but whatever. So what I came to realize is that the whole concept of, you're not worthy of 100% until you earn it, from a social work background, that's actually a very abusive mentality. That's a very abusive relationship, because if I have a daughter who I do in college and her boyfriend was saying, hey, babe, if you earn a good night on Saturday, for us to go to the movies, that'll be cool, but you need to put in the work this week. I tell her to get the hell out of that relationship.
Right. Chris, eXp Realty, we made a big move personally, and a lot of people in this room don't actually know it because we haven't officially announced it, but Kurz Real Estate over the last 24 to 48 hours has completely merged into eXp Realty. And wow. and we did that for a lot of reasons, very similar to what you guys are talking about, giving an opportunity to the agents to make more money, right? To not pay a ton and have other avenues of approach. How has eXp attacked that over the last, let's say, 10 years? It's been open 10 years, whatever. But over the last 4 years, it's grew exponentially for very similar reasons that these guys run really effective 100% brokerages. What does that look like?
I'm really passionate about one thing. It's called ownership. That's why I own my house. That's why I tell clients if they can buy a home to buy, right? You're building into something. You're not paying off someone else's investments. And that's really my drive for eXp, even when I made the move, was so my agents could have an ownership position like I did. And not just in a local, 20 to 30 miles of where my office was, but nationally. And it's really cool because, traditional real estate, we've always said, I've always saw, who makes all the money in a traditional brokerage? Who goes out there, does all the work? It's the agents. The agents go out and they do all the work, right? They're away from their families. Christmas Day, I was one of these guys. I was selling homes on Christmas Day, away from my kids.
By the way, when I was really, really active in sales, December was always my best month.
I killed it.
I worked the hell out of those 2 weeks everybody was off.
But we were making the sacrifices, right? And then the broker, though, has all the value of that company or the franchise owner. And what does the agent get if they ever decide to sell that company? What comes back to them? It's typically nothing. That all stays in that broker's pocket or franchise owner. So that's why I was so passionate when Glenn Sanford developed this platform, which was really taking the kings off the top, right?
Right.
Because it's always been a pyramid. Everybody knows that? Real estate's always been a pyramid. It's always someone on top of the pyramid. It's always been that way. It's just usually the king is where all the money funnels up. But Glenn took that same pyramid, he flipped it, And now the agents are on top instead of the bottom. And when I saw that vision and what was happening, I mean, I was all in. And I'm passionate about that.
That's awesome. And it's crazy because what you're seeing up here is two completely different models, but they have the same mentality. Put more money into the agent's pocket, right? Stanley, with everything changing in our markets and everybody making new things and websites coming out and promoting without giving your name, and people don't even know it's your listing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have always been faced and looked at and told, you, the real estate agent, run your own business, promote yourself. But we all are a part of multiple organizations. Do you feel that NAR has a responsibility to protect us by putting more advertisement out for the real estate professional?
That's something we talked earlier today. I mean, first of all, I feel a little odd up here because everybody works with a 100% company. And that's fine. They're all my friends. I don't have a problem because I think that's the most important thing, getting along together and unite. But the failure I see here is part board, part NAR. And, for the last maybe 2 or 3 months, I've been out there pushing and pushing and pushing. And all I can say is, regardless who we work for or what company we represent, I believe that none of the two organizations has showed any value of a human being. Somebody's either getting greased or paid. And at the end of the day, I'll say it straight up. That is what's happening. And this has been happening for 2 years. For 2 years, in 2017, this was happening. And, we had no protection here in the state of Florida to what we can do. If I want to advertise one of your properties, I have to ask permission. So we made a marketing agreement with Xylo, okay, because I can't even pronounce their name, And at the end of the day, I refused to pay for a designation, and we have to show our value of who we are in this industry. So, if we don't, this is the thing, we can opt out of it and not be in it, but the homeowner already is so
right, the homeowner has
brainwashed
a different experience today.
Right.
They're expecting a different experience.
So, at the end of the day, I'm not going to go head to head with anybody. I'm just going to create my ways. We'll create our ways. As realtors, we have to respect one another. We have to accept one another. And I believe that I've been successful in this industry because of other real estate agents as well.
Awesome. And so what we're saying today, and I want everybody to hear this very loud and clear, is that it doesn't matter who you work with or for. It doesn't matter what company you're a part of. It doesn't, Stanley Rosen Group at Kai's Real Estate, Kai's company. Guys, it doesn't matter what company comes out, Zillow, Realtor.com, Chim Chu Realty, none of that matters. What matters is what value you provide to the public, what value you create to the public. That's what really matters, and that's where we're at, right?
Can I say one thing funny about that?
Sure.
This always amazes me. But to get a real estate license, right, in Florida, you can do it online. When I did it, it was like 30 or 40 hours. I think now it's 62 hours. 63 hours now. And you can go help someone in the largest investment that they might ever make in their life, right? But if you want to become a dog groomer and shave a dog's behind, you have to go to school for 8 months. And the hair grows back. Sum it up a little bit, right? We've got to be professionals in this. We've got to go above and beyond.
I got to be so crazy honest with you. That is a conversation that I've had way too many times, right? You want our industry to raise up, educate yourself more and more and more, right? And listen, the test is maybe never going to change. In my opinion, I think to be a real estate agent, the course should be minimum 6 months. The test should cost $500 so that you really study your butt off for it and take it one time. And so that way, when you hit the market, you have an abundant amount of knowledge, right? And we could spin in circles about that all day long, but it's not going to happen. So since that's not going to happen, How do you stand out in the industry? Stay extremely educated. You guys are doing it right now. You're here. You're here educating yourself. Stay extremely educated on what's happening in the market. Stay extremely educated on how you can better serve your clients.
David,
So
let
I
me
was going to say
say,
too, David, just to add on that. So a lot of times we get upset by the quality of agents. We all like to see it rise up, but keep in mind there's a silver lining to this. Because if everybody was great, you'd be average. So what I mean by that is just because there's a low barrier of entry and there's not a lot of great agents out there, it gives you such a huge opportunity for you to rise up and stand out and really build a book of business.
you know, overall, at the end of the day, David, I'll close it up with this.
Awesome.
Okay? You know, all these iBuying companies that are out there are charging anywhere between 9 and 12% service charge. I just don't see, you know, they just used a different name
They
for
changed the name.
commission.
So maybe we should do that.
You
Instead
know,
of charging a
so
commission, we charge
we
a
are
service
now
charge.
we have now become the Walmart of real estate because we're 6%. Okay, and they call it a service charge. I call it a commission. And that's the way they're advertising it. If somebody's going to get their biggest investment and take a 15 to 20% haircut on top of a 9 to 12, you know, I had 3 business partners do a Zillow offer online, and it's incredible. Between $60,000 to $89,000 in combination with the 9.7% service charge plus 15 to 20% below market. Now, everybody that is here, if we as realtors had the opportunity to buy these houses 15 to 20% below market
All day
and
long.
make a 9.7 service charge, we do it all day long. We do it all day long. So, you know, this is just another part of the business. I've been slowing down with the rants and just coming up with ideas.
But guy, let me tell you, that's such a great piece of knowledge. That shows that you actually educated yourself on the iBuyer program while 90% of the market went, iBuyer, oh no.
Oh no, we
Right?
actually
It's
went
true.
through the
It's true.
process. I met the home advisor that didn't know his head from his ass.
But
You know,
but here's the thing, you educated
know,
yourself. So
I mean-
now when you speak to a seller, you can better educate your seller and let them know you can use me for 6% and get top dollar, or you can go that way for 9.5% and get minimum dollar.
So, David, one thing I want to point out about that, though, so if you really look at the NAR stats, there's only a 1% difference year after year between the 2 top reasons or the 2 top things people want when they sell their home. Reason number 1 is always they want the most money, the highest sale price. With a 1% differential, it's I want to sell in a very specific time. There is people out there that will take that haircut, and for us to not understand that or be able to service it, to leave it up to some other company, that's where we're missing out the opportunity.
That's where we're missing our
We are
opportunity.
missing the opportunity. So, you know, what I said before, instead of being one of 4 different options, try to become one single point of contact that has the option.
Right.
And I think we're going to see that more. I know in our brokerage, we do have that now. We just released the express offers, and it's 5, 6, 7 different institutions that will make an offer at your listing presentation. Some are buy and flip, so they're going to be lower, but then some of them are also buy and holds, which is going to be more closer to an actual retail market price.
Awesome.
And we're able to give them just options of what they can
Are
do.
you guys getting some amazing knowledge here right now? Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'll tell you, this panel was supposed to be 20 minutes. We're like 35 minutes in. That thing has been 0 for 15 minutes. I got a timer up here.
I was wondering what that was counting down
Yeah,
for.
I want to thank you guys and thank you guys for indulging us in allowing us the opportunity to bring these really strong, important topics to the table. And yes, you guys are the first ever to know about our merger with EXP, which is crazy.
Congrats, David.
Welcome,
It
David.
hasn't even hit the news yet. These guys knew a little earlier, but you know, we appreciate and embrace industry change, and kudos to everybody here and what you do in your businesses. It's amazing. I mean, we work together. We work together. You know, we're now working together. I talk to this guy.
I don't know who you guys are.
Now you do.
But you know what? Just let's respect one another in this industry. It doesn't matter if you're an old agent or a new agent. Let's all get along, get to the end, go to the bank and make a deposit. Thank you.
That's right.
Amen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Chris, thank you.